My parents drained my college fund to keep my golden child brother startup afloat. Now they're begging me to drop out and get a job to pay off their debt. I found out my college fund was gone because my financial aid office called me on a Tuesday afternoon. The woman on the phone sounded confused. There seems to be a problem with your tuition payment. Your education account was emptied last week. I laughed. That's impossible. My parents have been saving for my college since I was born. She paused. I'm sorry, but the balance is zero. I drove straight to my parents' house. Dad was sitting at the kitchen table. Mom wouldn't look me in the eye. My older brother, Ryan, was leaning against the counter, scrolling through his phone like nothing had happened. I asked one question. Where did my college fund go? Dad rubbed his forehead. We used it. For what? Mom finally answered. Ryan's startup needed help. I looked at my brother. You took my college money? Ryan shrugged. It's not gone forever. Once the company takes off, I'll pay it back. He said it so casually that I couldn't even respond. The next morning, I called the bank, hoping someone had made a mistake. Nobody had. The account legally belonged to my parents, so they were allowed to withdraw every dollar without asking me. I spent the next several weeks applying for scholarships, taking out additional student loans, and picking up every extra shift I could find at the campus library. I moved into a tiny apartment with 3 roommates, skipped meals whenever money got tight, and sold my motorcycle just to stay enrolled. Meanwhile, Ryan's social media was full of startup conferences, expensive dinners with investors, and flights to networking events. Every post talked about taking risks and believing in your dream. Apparently, my future had become part of his dream. About a year later, everything collapsed. Ryan's startup ran out of cash. Investors backed out, vendors demanded payment, and within weeks, the business shut down completely. That was when I learned the truth. My parents hadn't stopped after draining my college fund. Once that money was gone, they borrowed against their home to keep Ryan's company alive. They opened new credit cards, took personal loans, and convinced themselves the next investment would fix everything. Instead, they buried themselves in debt. One Saturday, Mom called and asked me to come over because they needed to discuss something important. Dad quietly pushed a folder across the kitchen table. Inside were loan statements, overdue notices, and mortgage documents. Almost $300,000. Mom reached across the table. We need your help. I didn't touch the folder. How? Dad answered.